fascinating that Michael Knowles, one of the most civilized human beings I've ever met in the United States. So, extraordinary to me. I think I've ever had on the show. Some terrible allegations spinning around there. Thank you both very much. I appreciate it. This woman I've said is proudly independent. The only boss around here is me. Enjoy our show. Ask them to do one simple thing. Hit subscribe on YouTube and follow Vehicle Uncensored on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. In return, we will continue our mission to inform, irritate, and entertain. Do it all for free. Independent, uncensored media has never been more critical, and we just do it without you.
Gemini, I forget what mission it was a spacewalk. So there's an image of him that was in training, and he's got the suit on, the wires. He's working with this suit that you use when you're actually in outside of the capsule or whatever the fuck they call it. And what they did was from the training mission, they just blacked out the exterior, the same photo, reversed it. So they switched the photo the other way, black, it's the exact same photo, and they tried to pass it off as Michael Collins in space. Because you got to think, like, how are they taking pictures? Who's going to take the picture? Right. This is part of the problem with, I think it was Apollo 12 or 13, whichever one it was, where they got the footage of the lunar module leaving the moon and going back towards the equator. And it looks so big, it looks so ridiculous. There's no plumes of fire. How does it have the power? Where's the engine? They use a car batteries, right? Well, I think
Allegedly, that's what Marson Bell said.
it's still 1/6 of Earth's gravity. It's still a significant amount of gravity. It's not the same gravity as Earth, but how does that thing shoot off into space? Like, that's nonsense. It looks like it's being pulled by strings. And the camera, which is operated, remotely, can perfectly to catch it. Shut the fuck up. How are you getting that footage? What are you doing? This is 1969. You're on the phone with Richard Nixon from the moon. Are you out of your fucking mind? Is this supposed to be real? This episode is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. I think you all agree that eating highly processed food for every meal isn't optimal. So why is processed food the status quo for dog food? Because that's what kibble is, an ultra-processed food. But a healthy alternative exists, the Farmer's Dog. They make fresh food for dogs. What does it look like? Real meat and vegetables that are gently cooked to retain vital nutrients and help avoid any of the bad stuff that comes with ultra processing. And it's not just random ingredients thrown together. Their food is formulated by on-staff, board-certified vet nutritionists. These people are experts on dog nutrition, and they're all in on fresh food. The Farmer's Dog also does something unique. They portion out the food to your dog's nutritional needs. This ensures that you don't overfeed them, making weight management easy. Research shows that dogs kept at a healthy weight can live up to 2.5 years longer. Head to thefarmersdog.com/Rogan to get 50% off your first box, plus free shipping. This offer is for new customers only.
Right in the middle of Operation Paperclip, MK Ultra, the Cold War, all the fucking deception that was going on, all this.
They lied about everything.
That was the time in history where they probably had the most fucking lies.
Vietnam War, they lied about everything. So the idea that they didn't lie about this one thing, the moon landing, is all 100% legit. Meanwhile, you've got intersecting shadows, you've got all sorts of problems. You've got the weirdest one is Neil Armstrong's 25th anniversary speech that he gave at the White House. That was so crazy. We have here among us America's best and brightest eulogy, great things. Once you reveal some of truth's hidden layers,
The hidden layers are uncovered.
what? How about just say I went to the moon 25 years ago? Like, what is all this cryptic talk?
That was the only time ever did a public talk.
It's the post-flight press conference. The post-flight press conference looks like these guys have a gun to their head and this is a hostage video. It looks so weird. He was like, oh, they were nervous. They just got back to the bro. Look at her. She went basically a little bit higher than an airplane, and it was like a life-changing experience. She's holding up a daisy. It was amazing. I feel so connected to Mother Earth. You know, like, these guys would have been ecstatic.
Yeah.
The idea that they would have been nervous as if they've been forced to lie, they're behaving. Like, behavior experts have looked at that footage and said these guys are being deceptive.
Yes.
Particularly Michael Collins. There's also inconsistent things with what he said during the post-flight press conference right after flying in comparison to his 1994 book.
Change the story, right?
Change the story about being able to see the stars. What were the stars like? He's like, I don't see any stars. And then in the 1994 book, he talks about how amazing, incredible. The footage the Super wire that shows that it appears that they covered up the windows to make this deceptive film that looks like they're far into space. That's weird, because I can't find any rational explanation that's like free. I tried to look at it like as objectively as possible, because I've gone back and forth on the thing. Like at one point in time, I thought I'm just being really stupid. Like, of course, everybody would know about this. And then over time, like I joked about it in my comedy special, like after COVID, I'm like, I don't think we went to the moon. But that's kind of true. Like, once I saw the level of deception that was willfully pushed forth during COVID, how many people were cooperating with this, and like how many organizations, government organizations were cooperating, knowing that they lied, knowing that these were lies, like, yeah, they can lie about all kinds of things. And this is today with the internet. You know, where's the upside from? Don't exist. Like, they can get away with shit, man. And the idea that they couldn't in 1969, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. They can fake that. It'd be easier to go to the moon than it would be to fake it. Shut the fuck up. No, it wouldn't. Not if you physically can't get a human being through the Van Allen radiation belts without them dying. They never even flew a chicken through those fucking things and had it come back alive.
Russia flew a dog and came back and died 2 days later, I think.
But they didn't even go to deep space.
No, I think they just went into the belt and did a U-turn.
Bro, no one's even close.
Have you seen I'm sure you've seen this, the photo of Jolly West face down on the set of 2001 Space Odyssey?
No.
You haven't seen it?
No. Oh, that's amazing.
Should I send it on?
Fuck yeah, send it to Jay. Do you have his number?
No.
Oh,
Well, you can probably see
if you can find it.
Jolly West.
Her face.
That's funny. Between the sound stages. It's a wide shot of a bunch of dudes.
Listen, man, of course,
That's not it.
of course they would contact Kubrick if they wanted to go to fake it. Yeah. And of course, if you're in the middle of the Cold War, which they were, which was very terrifying. Right. When I was a kid, when I was in high school, we were terrified of Russia bombing America.
Yes.
Everyone was like really concerned. Russia was the great enemy. You know, the video of Khrushchev said, yelling, "We will bury you." Like that was like burned into every American child's mind. And if you were a patriot and you wanted to defeat Russia, we have a strategy to defeat Russia. And this is what we're going to do. First of all, we're going to bankrupt them by just making them spend to keep up with us. And they don't have a capitalist society. So they don't really have a GDP. Like they have a GDP, but they don't have like the same sort of corporate structure that we have in America, where they're like striving and innovating and developing new things. The companies are getting bigger and there's more growth. And no, they're communists. They were a communist country, so everything was like food lines, and they didn't have the kind of money that we have. It wasn't even close. So Reagan essentially bankrupted them. And then, during the time, and, all the other people before him as well, but during the time when they were developing these rocket ships, the Russians were way more advanced than us. And basically every single thing. They got to space first, put the first man in space, put the first satellite in space, and they couldn't even come close to what he put that guy.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's incredible also that there was never another nuke that was sent to anybody after Batman took it away.
Yeah, that's cool.
It is really insane to think about sometimes.
Yeah, that's one of the great achievements of human beings. That we did it once and we said, let's not do that again.
Annie's book about nuclear war scared the living shit out of me, bro.
Yeah, it's a good one.
actually said that we have 11 interceptor missiles in the U.S. That's a total. I think it's 11 or maybe 22. Or no, it's 24.
Russia has 5,000 missiles.
Yeah, yeah. And the problem with it is, like, if a rogue nuke got launched from North Korea from one of their submarines, it would have to fly over the North Pole, right, towards us. And as soon as they launch it with all of our satellite systems that we can detect the thing, the rocket burner, like going into orbit, we'll know within 5 minutes of them launching it, probably before. And then we literally have to, I guess the way she described it was, our policy is once that nuke is launched, we have to empty our silos, our ICBM silos, because they're stationary. They can't. If they're hit, they're gonna try to take us out at those ICBM sites. That's like one of the first targets. So it's use it or lose it. We have to launch all those ICBM nukes, and then we have to fly those over the North Pole, over Russia, to hit North Korea. And it takes like 11 minutes. So like you got to get Putin on the phone in 10 minutes saying, "Yo, these nukes aren't coming for you, bro. They're going for Kim Jong Un." And then by that time, it's like, if you don't have like a perfect communication amongst all these world leaders, everyone's going to be launching nukes.
Well, you know the story about that one Russian military guy that was the reason why Russia didn't launch a retaliatory strike? Because there was
A submarine guy.
error. Yeah. There was an error, and they thought the United States had launched a missile towards Russia, and they were ready to respond.
That's Jolly West in the background, bro.
It's unconfirmed. I don't know if anyone confirmed.
That's if you can find a young
Zoom in
photo.
on him. Zoom in on
I
him.
did.
Let's zoom in on him.
Oh,
Oh, that's Jamie works for the government. Jamie's seen it. Look at that. That's 100%. Look at that picture. Now go to the other picture you showed. That's him. Yeah, that's him. I mean,
Nothing to see here.
yeah, that is 100% him. That's the exact same face.
Find another one, Robert.
That's all. I don't think.
Out of all the people that I wish were alive that I could talk to, Kubrick is number one on the list.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. First of all, I made some of the most impactful. Well, I'm like telling you, John, there's too many people. Be a few people.
Dude, what's everywhere?
Yeah, that looks like it. Yeah.
Look at that guy. Look at the far left photo. I mean, it seems pretty close.
That's him. Shut the fuck up.
Hairline's identical. Look at the hairline.
Jamie's a party bro. Jamie's a total party
I'd like to know. I want to go down there. There's a little mark right here in that guy's head, and that guy's.
Oh my god, he combed his hair different. In the second one, that's exactly the same. That one right there is exactly the same. He started losing his hair. He started doing a little bit of a comb over. Yeah. Look, man, that guy was one of the biggest pieces of shit in the history of the United States government. What he did was nuts. Just the fucking Manson stuff was nuts. The MK Ultra stuff was unbelievable. And imagine do all this stuff. No one's investigating it. No one even knows. It's all completely top secret. Congress has no idea you even exist in this room. And they were running around doing like,
Yeah, I was talking to Hamilton about it. I'm like, dude, isn't that crazy all the stuff they were doing with MPL trade? And Hamilton's like, no. Of course those guys were doing that shit. So, Hamilton Morris.
oh, yeah, yeah, that guy, of course.
He's like, of course they were doing that, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, if you have some unique compound like LSD, and gets Hoffman discovers it, and then they started experimenting with what can we do with this stuff, and then you find it has profound effects on the human mind. Of course, you're going to try to use it for mind control. They had already experimented with all sorts of techniques in regards to doing prisoners, like taking prisoners and trying to figure out like what kind of sleep deprivation, what psychological techniques can you use to extract information from them. So if you had something like LSD, of course they're trying that. It makes sense. They were doing it way back in the 50s in the UK with those British soldiers. I'm sure you've seen that video.
No, I haven't.
You ever seen that?
No.
They dosed up these soldiers with acid and then had them go out in the field and do these training routines, training exercises. And they see if you find the video, it's hilarious. They were just laughing so hard they couldn't perform. Like some of them were able to do their duties, and other ones just fell to the ground and just laughing and going around and around. Like this is 64.
These guys are high on that.
Is that what it said, Jim? Did you just say make it smaller again so you can see? Yeah, 64. Royal Marines. So look at these poor guys. You get to relax and giggle. What the fuck are we doing here, bro? They probably didn't even tell them, and this guy freaked out. He's holding that lady's hand. I love you. I think you're amazing. We're all connected. God is real. There is no death. And he's aiming the pistol. He's aiming this fucking, this cannon. Look at these people. They're punching the decision as they enter the wood. Almost immediately, the commander tried to use a map. He couldn't read the map. They're just tripping balls. It's so funny that they try to there's a smile on their faces. Guy's got his hand over his head like, what is going on, man? And then it's supposed to be doing these exercises. Radio and communication. It's difficult, it's not impossible. Like, fuck this. This guy's just laying it down, laughing. Having so much fun. I try to chop a tree down using the new spade. You know, the sense of responsibility is spiking from physical illnesses. But 1 hour into
That's what they're doing now.
don't get this.
There's yeah, the DARPA that DARPA grant that went to University of North Carolina to figure out how to take the psychedelic trip out of LSD, I think it was.
Yeah.
They're trying to make them so they can. This is what I've heard is that they are trying to make them more effective on the battlefield,
Right.
with things like edge detection, and also coming back, like get back out there, like take them through the process, let them recoup, and get right back out on the battlefield. To where if you could get all the benefits of a psychedelic without the trip, would you get those benefits, and would it be useful for soldiers in combat? You know, it's an interesting idea.
Well, the Vikings took mushrooms with the berserkers. They would take mushrooms for combat. Yeah. It does make sense. It really does. It doesn't make sense to us because we think of mushrooms as like, you know, hey man, I'm going to connect with God. It's going to be peaceful. I'm in a field. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to reset and come back and tell everybody I love them. You know, that's what mushrooms are to us. But if you live in an insanely warlike culture and you believe it's right to go to battle, and you're supposed to go to battle, and Odin is on your side, and you take these mushrooms to summon the strength of the gods to prepare yourself for battle. And I know a lot of guys who fight on mushrooms. Yeah. Like Joe Schilling talked about it on the podcast. He took like a small dose and was sparring and then fought for kickboxing out that way. He said he could see what guys were doing before they were doing it. It's almost like Joe Schilling's a world champion, like an elite kickboxer, like one of the best ever. And so for a guy like that to say that it had a profound effect on him, he knows his body. Like his battle hardened. He knows the difference between regular fighting and fighting on mushrooms. He said he could see it. He almost like know what they were going to do.
That's wild.
Yeah.
They are. There's a dude who's like I heard about Dana Beal, who's flying Ibogaine to the troops in Ukraine, to the Ukrainian troops, trying to get those guys on Ibogaine. And meanwhile, the Russians are on there's like a new meth that they're on. This is new age meth. Yeah, there's a new version. The new version of what the Nazis have heard.
How old are you left?
It's like a little bit. It's a little bit too.
Oh, it's like,
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Visible. I want to let you in on something. Your current wireless carrier does not want you to know about Visible because Visible is the ultimate wireless hack. No confusing plans with surprise fees, no nonsense, just fast speeds, great coverage without the premium cost. With Visible, you get one-line wireless with unlimited data powered by Verizon's network for $25 a month. Taxes and fees included. Seriously, $25 a month flat. What you see is what you pay. No hidden fees on top of that. Ready to see? Join now and unlock unlimited data for just $25 a month on the Visible plan. Don't think wireless can be so transparent? So Visible? Well, now you know. Switch today at visible.com/Rogan. Terms apply. See visible.com for plan features and network management details.
Maybe like super Adderall, but
Adderall. Do you know how many million prescriptions of Adderall given in this country every year?
Gavin McGinnis told me before I came here, and I was like, "Got any advice for Sean?" He said, "Slam 3 beers and eat an Adderall." I was like, "No, bro."
That's something that he would do. Yeah. He came. Did you ever see the time he came in dressed like Michael Douglas?
Yeah,
walking down,
of course.
walking. What was the movie?
I forget.
We freaked out. Michael Douglas like had enough.
Yeah. No, he slams beers 24/7. He's constantly drinking Budweiser.
Yeah.
I've never seen him go to Budweiser. Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, he's a smart guy. Yeah, he's a funny guy too. He just Proud Boys things. Just if he had never done that, he would be like, a famous commentator. Too.
Yeah.
Like you think about like Steve Bannon, all these other guys. Like he's way funnier than any of those guys.
Oh yeah.
He's very insightful. Like he's right about a lot of things. He like picks up on trends and culture and sees where people are going. And he was aware of like the dangers of Marxism and a lot of this fucking ridiculous leftist ideology that they were pushing in universities way before anybody else was.
Yeah. There was this documentary that just came out about him. One of the guys, Thomas, that used to work for Vice. He was like one of the original reporters for Vice. He did all like the early stuff. And he made this documentary all about Gavin. And it's like it focuses on the transformation from like early punk rock, like liberal Gavin in the UK, like the Moms and the Rockers, to like the current Gavin, which is like, he frames him as just like this super right wing racist dude. And I was asking Gavin about it because he came on the podcast recently, and he's like, "I've always been the same." He's like, he just explained that his views never changed. He was just saying that like Vice all of a sudden was getting infused with millions of corporate dollars. And I wasn't a good look for that. They didn't want me in there. But meanwhile, he was like the whole soul of Vice. Like if there was no Gavin, there was no Vice. Like all the controversial do's and don'ts shit, like all those controversial articles about like trans shit early in like the early 2000s that he was doing was funny. And like culture didn't look at it the way it looks at it today.
Well, he was being attacked for things that are like openly discussed today, like the dangers of trans ideology, and that these are just men, and a lot of these men are doing it because they're perverts, and so they're autogynephilics. Autogynephilia is a real thing. It's men who get sexually aroused and pretending that they're women, and they want to go into women's spaces and be sexually aroused. Now people are saying that openly, right? Like, what was the university that Leah Thomas was swimming in? Penn. Okay, so they have to take away all of air quotes her gold medals. It's a guy, like has a penis, has sex with women, supposedly, according to Tony Hinchcliffe, which is my number one source of news. But he actually had a bit about it. It's really funny. But the university now has to apologize to all the women that were forced to compete with him, and say they fucked up and never do it again, and not allow biological men to compete with women, which is like it should be. That should be a left-wing perspective. Not that you shouldn't be able to be trans. Of course, you should be able to do whatever you want. I'm for you doing whatever you want if you want to hurt people.
Right.
If you really believe you're a woman, look, if you can get fake tits and you can get fake lips and you can get a dick enlargement, like, do whatever you want to do. I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. I'm covered with tattoos. I made stupid decisions. Like, do whatever you want to do. But when you're competing with women, you are essentially victimizing these women. You're forcing these women to compete with men who've been through puberty, and in this case, still have a functional penis, which is fucking bananas. It's a man. Just because you think you're a woman, you think physically we know there's a difference. I didn't know it was a giant problem until there was that fighter, Fallon Fox, who had competed twice against women without letting them know that this person was a biological male for 30 years, fathered a child, the whole deal. I'm like, this is crazy. And that his response was, it's a medical condition, so I don't have to disclose this. It's medical information, which is just horseshit. It's crazy. When I was saying that, I got attacked like over and over and over again. I go, wow, this is from the left. Like the left has no problem with a mentally ill man beating the shit out of women, falsely claiming that they're not even allowing these women to know. These women think they're going to go compete in a low-level MMA fight. Like a lot of them didn't look good. They didn't look like they were well-trained. And they're competing against a biological man without having any idea. One of them got a fractured skull. It's like that's when I would realize, like, oh, this is just a cult. This isn't the left that I grew up with. I grew up with parents that were hippies. And so, like, my whole life I was left wing. I felt like that was the only way to be. But when you see the left allowing this bizarre loophole where perverts can pretend to be women, compete with women, fight with women, beat them up, be in their locker rooms, walk around naked with their dick hanging out, no one can say anything. Like, how did they switch? How did they flip it on its head? That, like, at any other time in history, if a man had a penis and was walking through a young girl's locker room, you'd be in real fucking trouble, rightly so, because that's not a thing that you should want to do. That's a weird thing to want to walk around naked with your dick hanging out in front of a bunch of women. That's a creepy sexual thing. Period.
Yeah, unless you're like a Nero, you're not doing that.
Yeah, even Nero.
Sick fuck. But like another thing Gavin was pointing out to me, he was showing me this New York Times, or not New York Times, this Time magazine cover from like a couple months ago, and it was all about how tomboys are going extinct. You seen that?
Yeah,
It's incredible.
Yeah, because they're turning them all.
They're cutting their tits off and turning them boys.
And then giving them fake things. I was watching this operation today.
You watched the operation?
I watched, excuse me, I should say this. I was watching a video of the post-op. I saw images of the operation. But it was this poor person who decided they wanted a pee standing out. That was all they wanted from this fake dick. So they have these enormous scars on their leg where they take a giant chunk of flesh out of your thigh and then roll it up and make a penis out of it. And they had to do it to both legs for some reason. Maybe one of them didn't work real well. But how old was this person? They sounded young. They didn't show their face. You know, it's fucking insane because a lot of these people, unfortunately, are autistic, and then there's this other factor when you give them testosterone, it does alleviate anxiety because all of a sudden, you have this new hormone in abundance in your system, and you feel different, you feel better, you feel more confident, which is like the same thing that you feel when you have more testosterone. It's like then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is who I was all along. No, you're taking a fucking compound that's forcing your body to change. This is not who you were. You're not affirming your identity. You're doing something that's altering your hormonal structure and turning you into a man. Like, it might feel good, but this is not like your true self. This is crazy. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to do it. If you want to do it, if you're a woman and you want to take testosterone and be a man or be more manly, I feel like I don't know if it's the best decision for you, but I'm not you. And I believe in freedom. I believe in 100% human freedom as long as you're not hurting other people.
Yeah.
My beef with it is like it translated into them invading women's spaces. And, that's crazy. That's crazy because you leave the loophole for perverts. There could be a lot of them that are legitimately trans people that feel like they are in the wrong body and they want to live their life as a woman. And when they live their life as a woman, they feel healthier. They feel better. They're happier. And also, crazy people. And if you don't have a way of determining who is just a pervert who just wants to hang out in the women's locker room and show everybody his dick, and who is a legitimate person with gender dysphoria, and that's the other thing that, like, Tucker had a really good point about this. He said if someone has anorexia, you don't tell them, yeah, you're fat. Yeah, you're fat. You're right. You're correct. Even though you look very skeleton, you need to lose weight. No, you tell them you're mentally ill. This is incorrect. You're not overweight. In fact, you have body dysmorphia. You can't see what you really look like, which we know is a real condition. Like, it's a real condition with anorexia. It's even a real condition with bodybuilders. It's a real condition. Yeah. A real condition when people get plastic surgery, where they get crazy lips and crazy cheeks, and they can't see it. They can't see it. They can't see themselves. It's nuts.
They turn themselves into like all monsters, looking like Jar Jar Binks walking around.
They look like monsters. They look like monsters, and it doesn't look good. And they keep tweaking and fucking with it, and they can't see it because it's a mental illness. It's the same kind of thing. Like, the human mind is incredibly fragile. That's why Charlie West was fascinated with trying all these MK Ultra techniques and different compounds on people's brains. Because human people can be manipulated, like, very easily, shockingly easily. Not all of us, right? Like, you and me are probably very skeptical. There's a lot of skeptical people out there. But there's a bunch of people that are not skeptical at all. They're super gullible. And when an ideology forms, they step in line. And they follow that ideology verbatim, to the line. They'll repeat the things that they're supposed to say to the line. Because they think that's what they're supposed to do in order to be in the good graces of this community that they find themselves in. It's a fucking cult. Yeah. And there's a shit ton of cults. It's not just the Moonies. ideologies. It's not just, whatever, fill in the blank. It's all sorts of political ideologies. It's MAGA. It's the far left. It's the people that are cheering for this guy in New York City that's a communist.
Yeah, didn't he just promise a bunch of money for transition?
Yay! Yeah, it's nuts.
Run grocery stores and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He's just the prime minister.
He's gonna win.
You think?
Yes, 100%. Because the other guy is the fucking Guardian Angels guy. The other guy is Curtis Sliwa, the guy who wears the goofy beret.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the guy who won the Republican side. Nobody wants to be a Republican mayor of New York City because they know they can't win. So they're not like
This guy's to the left of Bill de Blasio.
oh, he's way to the left. Yeah, and he's young and he's energetic. He's saying all the right things for all these kids that are in the streets that are protesting. They think they want to make the world a better place. Which, hey, I would have been doing it with you if I was 20. It's all the same thing, man. It's all the same thing. You can get indoctrinated into a particular way of thinking without being objective about what's actually going on. All these people that are like just running through the street now saying free Iran. Like, yeah, free Iran from a dictatorship, absolutely. But if you're saying, like, wear scarves over your head and being forced to do what the Iranian government wants you to do and live like they live over there, no, they don't live free. Like, they assassinated the fucking Olympic gold medalist in Russia, in wrestling, rather, in Iran, because he was protesting against the government. Like, they're like national heroes and killed them openly. Like, it's not a good place to live.
Right.
And I'm not saying we should bomb them, but, like, being in support of the Iranian people, yeah, for sure. But that government is nuts, man. It's like, trans people for Hamas. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, there's people that are just, they're not seeing what you're talking, they're not seeing the big picture.
Yeah, there's so many contradictions out there, man. It's really hard to follow it all.
It's because it's a cult.
And I think a huge amount of the Iranian populace is Israel too. And it's like you would never fucking know these people.
A ton of Persian Jews that moved to Los Angeles. That was like at the fall, I guess it was in the 70s when, so this is the story for people that don't know about Iran. So there was a gentleman who was democratically elected. I forget his name. What is his name? I'm going to fuck it up. So he decided that he was going to nationalize oil in Iran. And they got him out like that. They installed the Shah and turned it into an Islamic dictatorship, but they had access to the oil. So the CIA and the British government and everybody conspired to get rid of this democratically elected guy, because Iran at the time was like, women were wearing shorts, or skirts rather, walking down the street. It looked cool. There it is. Mohammed Mossadegh. Okay. So let's zoom in on the story here. It says Iranian Prime Minister Mohammed Mossadegh was removed from power in a coup organized and financed by British and U.S. governments. The Shah quickly returned to take power and signed off over 40% of Iran's oil fields to U.S. companies. It's crazy, man. It's like, it's so transparent. They didn't even wait a couple of years. They didn't even like, well, the Shah's in power now. We'll see how things go. They immediately came in and signed everything on. Yep. 1953, the CIA and British intelligence orchestrated a coup d'etat that toppled the democratically elected government of Iran. The government of Mohammed Mossadegh, the aftershocks of the coup are still being felt. 51 Prime Minister Mossadegh roused Britain's ire when he nationalized the oil industry. So the oil, they weren't making money off the oil. They were making money, but not as much money as the British were. It had been exclusively controlled by the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. The company later became known as the British Petroleum.
This
BP.
time is different.
BP, which they're the same people that dumped all the oil in the Gulf.
Yeah.
That's BP. After considering military action, Britain opted for a coup d'etat. President Harry Truman rejected the idea, but when Dwight Eisenhower took over the White House, he ordered the CIA to embark on one of its first covert operations against a foreign government. And Iran's been fucked ever since. I mean, we've been doing stuff like that, not we, not you and I, not Susanna Jones. We're innocent. But the United States government, especially the intelligence agencies in the days before they assassinated Kennedy, they were doing all kinds of wild shit. And this is
done now. They don't do that shit anymore.
They definitely don't. No,
this was ever because they don't care a shit about the oil.
No, this government's America first.
We're legit America first.